You ever notice how your ears perk up the second someone says, "We should come by sometime"? Not excitement, alert. Like your body heard something your brain didn't. Why does small talk drain you, but being alone instantly resets you? Why does your space feel less like a house and more like protection? What most people miss is this: you didn't choose that reaction. It showed up before you had language for it. If you were raised in the 1970s, no one explained emotions or boundaries. You were just expected to cope. Before boundaries were a thing, before you knew you were allowed to say no, that constant feeling of being slightly out of place isn't who you are. It's something that settled into you quietly and stayed. That out of place feeling usually hits before you even think about it. You walk into a room and your body's already clocking the tone, the volume, the moods. That's what this is really about. Timing. You learned early how to read situations faster than you relaxed into them. Growing up in the 70s meant noticing first, adjusting fast, and not needing much. You adjusted, you held back, you figured out when not to ask for much. So now you're present, but measured. Connection costs energy because it always has. Distance feels safer because it worked. And over time, that skill stopped feeling like awareness and started feeling like isolation because it never actually turned off. And this is where it starts showing up in everyday life, especially at home. Your place isn't just where you live, it's where your body finally lets go. Your breathing slows. Nothing is being asked of you. So when someone talks about coming over, it's not really about them. It's the interruption, the sense that the column is about to shift. You feel yourself bracing, getting ready to be on again. When you grew up learning to manage yourself quietly, peace became something you guarded. And this is the part that matters. The calm you protect comes at a cost, because when peace learns to survive by staying untouched, letting anyone inside it starts to feel like a risk. This didn't come from nowhere. Growing up, a lot of you learned early how to take care of yourself without drawing attention to it. You could feel when the room was already full, so you learned to stay small, to handle things quietly, to not be the reason something tipped over. In the 1970s, independence wasn't praised, it was expected. Over time, that taught you something in your body. Strong emotions were easier to manage alone. Closeness started to feel like effort. Effort started to feel heavy, so peace slowly shifted. It wasn't about being close anymore. It was about keeping things steady, by keeping them contained. At some point, you probably started telling yourself a story about this, that you're just not a people person, that you're antisocial, that you like your space more than most. And sure, that sounds clean, but it skips something important. You don't pull back because you don't care. You pull back because your body stays alert longer than other people's do. You're tracking tone, pace, when to respond, when to hold it together. That kind of vigilance was normal in the world you grew up in. So you step away to reset. And once you see that, the story shifts. This isn't a personality flaw. It's a way of staying steady in environments that always asked a little more than you had to give. You feel it before you think it. That tightness when plans stretch longer than expected. The way your shoulders stay lifted even when everyone else looks relaxed. That's where the insecurity lives. Not in your head, but in your body. Being around people asks something from you that you can't turn off once it starts. You're listening closely, measuring responses, staying aware of how you're coming across. You learned early that staying aware kept things from going wrong. And somewhere in that, a quiet fear forms, not of people themselves, but of what it costs you to stay present. So you pull back early. You choose distance before fatigue chooses you. And even when you're alone again, part of you is still unwinding from it. So if you've spent years feeling slightly out of place, this was never a flaw you needed to fix. It was a pattern that kept you steady when things around you felt unpredictable. It made sense in the world you were raised in, but it likely cost you something too. Moments you didn't fully settle into, connections that stayed at arm's length, a version of closeness that always felt just out of reach. Protecting your calm kept you safe, but it may have also kept you alone in ways you didn't notice at the time. And the hardest part isn't changing that pattern. It's realizing it's still quietly deciding how close you let life get.